Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now. Hey now, hey now. Hey now, hey now. Welcome to our number 3 of the Line Talk 99.5 and Talk995.com. Still getting messages about the static. So if you're listening to us through static, we have crews that are feverishly working on the tower I think there was some storm damage like a week ago. And so they're trying to get that situated. But if you can hear the sound of my voice, you need to go download the app, man. Listen to us online. Everything's digital these days anyway. So if you've got a little bit of static or a lot of static, go download the app and you can hear us wherever you go. And boy, we are loud and clear. It sounds better than the radio when you listen online. It sounds crisp like that. Doesn't it, John Bird?
Indeed it does. Did you hear the T's and S's?
I did.
How clear they were for all you people listening on that line?
What are you eating right now?
Nothing. I cracked a tooth. Ow.
What is it? Is it the corn, the popcorn from the break room?
What popcorn?
The popcorn you're eating?
No, it's not. It's definitely not that.
The pork rinds? Yeah.
Or maybe it's just a couple of those.
They're really crunchy stuff.
Yeah, they're really healthy for you. They're really good for you.
Are they? Are they part of your keto diet?
It actually takes more calories to consume them than are actually in them.
Was that cake part of your keto too?
That was a mistake. Cake equals mistake. Now I'm trying to rectify it with these
pork rinds.
Cornhole pork rinds.
The cake mistake.
The cake mistake.
You literally had cake for breakfast. That's wild. That's a wild move, my friend.
It's not right.
Mm-hmm. Let me say this real quick. The America 250 State Fair celebration and all that kind of stuff. Fox News has been reporting live from there. They have their own setup. I don't know if any other outlets do, but Fox has been reporting live from the big setup, and all over social media, people are declaring what a disaster it is. Like, leftists want so badly for Trump and America to fail. It's pretty disgusting. Like, they would literally shoot themselves in their own foot in order to get back at Trump. Like, they would be willing to damage themselves if it damages the president. And that's a deranged type of thinking. That is why we classify liberalism as a mental illness. Because it rewires your brain to think that nothing is more important than hurting Donald Trump. It's crazy. And here's the perfect example. So, yeah, it seems like the crowds are sparse there. Of course, we're in the middle of the week. I imagine the crowds will grow as we get closer to the weekend. Most people are going to want to be a part of the 4th of July festivities on Friday and Saturday, but they made this like a 2-week thing. You know, it's going to be open for several days, and people are, you know, they're planning their trips. People can't spend 2 weeks straight up there, and they don't really want to go before the 4th of July. So just give it a few days, and I'm sure it's going to fill out. But back to the deranged thinking. So they have, if you see the shot that Fox News has, they have a line of buildings going down each side of, I don't know what section that is. I don't know if that's the, what do they call that? They call it the National Mall. It's not far from the Washington Monument and the reflecting pool and all that, but they've got that particular section has what looks like a storage facility with these buildings that just stretch for like, you know, yards and yards and yards. It's like the length of a couple of football fields, I guess. And in each one of these buildings that are all connected, there are exhibits representing each of the 50 states. You've seen this, John Bird, where they've got the little sections for each state, and you can go, like, if you look at the TV, you see those 2 rows of buildings behind them.
Right.
In those buildings, each section is a state, and they have, like, somebody in there representing the state, just kind of showing off the state, if you will.
That's cool.
So it's like a little mini museum for each state.
Mm-hmm.
While people have been, mostly liberals, have been going and complaining that some of these booths don't really have anything. They're like, there's nothing in here. So, and in some cases, there's not even a person in there to talk to say, why is Connecticut great and wonderful? Why should I go visit Connecticut or whatever? And it turns out that several of the blue states have not done anything with their booth in protest of Donald Trump. They have gone and they've got, like, kind of a booth set up with, like, wallpaper that maybe shows the skyline of one of their cities, or, this says, "Welcome to Connecticut." I'm just using them as an example. And they're not showing up, and they're not putting anything in their booth to protest the president. They'll have, like, either a couple chairs or nothing at all. And I'm like, this is a big opportunity for you to showcase your state in Washington, D.C. And you're so deranged and you're so eat up with Trump derangement syndrome that you won't even show off your state during America's 250th celebration.
Sad and stupid.
You don't even want to celebrate 250 years of America, a country that's likely given so much to you and so much opportunity. It's amazing to see how many people in this country actually hate this country. And it's ironic enough that while all of that is going on, the rest of the world has convened on the United States of America in the U.S. and has taken to social media to show their reactions to all the things that we have taken for granted. Like a Walmart or a Buc-ee's or ranch dressing or Bass Pro Shops or pizza or anything. All of this stuff that we have that we don't think much about. It's just part of our everyday lives. So while the libs are literally moaning and crying and protesting and talking about how America's so awful, the rest of the world is coming here and they don't even want to go home. Europeans are like shocked that we have air conditioning in our homes. They're like, what is it? This is crazy. It's almost as if it came at the perfect time. And I don't know, maybe Trump thought of this. Maybe he thought, hey, if we've got the World Cup coming to the U.S. during America's 250th celebration, the rest of the world will get here and they're going to love it. And then we're going to have our big shebang, our big shindig on Saturday. Those people that have come from other countries are going to see the biggest fireworks display in history and just be in awe of this country. There are people from all over the world that are 10 times, 100 times more patriotic than Democrats that have some have been born here and lived their entire lives. Foreigners love this country more than they do. How crazy is that? What twilight zone are we living in? Bubba Rumble's on the line. Bubba, what's up, Cole?
Hey now.
Hey now.
Everything about America is awesome except for the libtards.
Correct.
It's just, let's just simplify it that way. And I love how the Euros have showed up here and find out after generations of browbeating by their state-controlled medias about how horrible and racist and America is and all that, they find out that they know what we already know. America is awesome.
That's right. They had to find out firsthand.
That's right, and Bucky's is a big part of that. A Bucky's brisket sandwich is like, is an art of diplomacy at this point.
It really is.
All right, so check this out. Yesterday you were talking about the dude who allegedly threw the cats out of his car, and then he was consistently saying he was getting railroaded, and it looks like he got swatted, and that was what my redneck conspiracy theory spidey senses was telling me about that. It just seems like things weren't adding up, and it seems like something maybe a libtard would do to somebody to swat them if he had maybe a MAGA hat on or a Trump sticker on their car or something. And so last night I'm going through anti-social media over here, and up pops that same story from this town near me called Kingman, Arizona. And reporting party states that they saw an individual throw a kitten out of their window, and they had an all points bulletin out for a red pickup truck and all that. And it's just ironic that the same day that I'm contemplating all that, then all of a sudden it pops up over here. And I'm even more convinced that my redneck conspiracy senses are telling me that it's a new form of libtard swatting against right wingers.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, all you got to do is accuse somebody of a crime. And in some cases, as we saw here, no matter how little evidence is there, they can still lock you up and cost you a day or two of your life, cost you your place of residence, possibly cost you your job, death threats, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, if you want like a highly emotional and swift response on anybody about anything, accuse them of throwing a kitten out of a car, and yeah, you're going to get like a pretty heavy response from law enforcement and other people in your community. So I just wanted to mention that it was still kind of fresh in the news story. It's so ironic how after that event, it just happens right here within a few miles of where I live, and it's just like it makes about as much sense as the other one did. I don't think there's a whole lot of people in busy traffic throwing kittens out their windows, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Seems like you're just asking for trouble if you're like in, busy city traffic throwing kittens at your window and thinking you're not going to get caught.
Yeah, the one thing that everybody's going to be against, which is, killing animals, killing innocent kittens, like everybody's against that. So it's the perfect crime to accuse somebody of.
Sure enough. And, I wouldn't be too surprised if we hear about it a little bit more, if it is what I think it is. So we'll see how this plays out. But more than ironic how all of a sudden it pops up right here where I'm at, too, within a week or two of the original crime of all crimes. So anyway, and other than all I can say is Lamey Phony Barrett and Justice Roberts are libtard rhino traitors, and thanks for ensuring that we'll have a steady supply of anchor babies to deal with as time goes on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good looking out on that one. Yeah, thanks. All right, dudes.
All right, buddy. Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hello.
Hey now. All right. That's enough of that hullabaloo. Is that the word I'm looking for? That's enough of that hullabaloo.
Hullabaloo, that's it.
Yeah. Let me tell you about Noto Roofing. Noto roofing.com. NotoRoofing.com, your roofing company. Get in touch with them. 205-848-2299. Free roof inspection, complimentary roof tune-up. Man, they're doing big things. Even out in this sweltering heat, they're still working on roofs, replacing roofs, and giving you your free roof inspection. Reach out to them and get that complimentary roof tune-up. They just do that automatically. You don't have to ask for it. Just tell them you want a free roof inspection, and if they're up there and they see a small problem, they can just fix right there on the spot, maybe adjust a shingle or whatever it may be. They'll do it, man. That's part of the tune-up, baby. All free. 205-848-2299 and online, NotoRoofing.com. Theory of a Dead Man. It's
I
good
like
stuff.
I like their sound.
Yeah, it's a good band. That's a good band. So inmates take over a North Carolina jail and take hostages after overpowering guards. This is a wild story. It says inmates at the jail managed to take over the facility for approximately 9 hours yesterday, creating a hostage situation after they successfully overpowered the guards. During the takeover, only 3 guards faced 88 inmates at the Bertie Martin Regional Jail in Windsor, North Carolina.
Yep.
You know where that's at?
I do.
Authorities did not say how many inmates were involved in the takeover. The incident reportedly began at approximately 5 a.m. Monday morning and lasted until 2 p.m. Boy, getting caught flat-footed at 5 a.m. Are they, at that point, are they waiting for, I wonder if that's the morning shift at that point. Because you don't want to do it at the end of a shift where you've got basically twice as many guards there. You want to wait until the new shift comes in and then allow the other shift to leave before you take over.
Yeah, that would definitely be the way to do it.
Not that I've ever been involved in a prison riot or anything. Video from the scene shows buses transporting inmates to separate detention facilities. FBI Charlotte announced at approximately 2 p.m. that the situation had ended. FBI SWAT, FBI Hostage Rescue Team, and the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation responded to the scene. Bertie County Sheriff Tyrone Ruffin announced at a press conference, quote, "I am relieved to report that the situation concluded safely around 2 p.m. today with minimum injuries. Now that the incident has concluded, the investigation into what occurred and how it happened is just beginning. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations and the FBI will be conducting interviews and investigations with all parties that are involved in the coming days," saying that the investigation could continue for several days. While taking questions from reporters, Ruffin said the facility was damaged by SWAT teams responding to the takeover. No inmates remain housed in the jail. Deputies arrived at the scene early in the morning, but were unable to get inside immediately. Blah, 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 blah. So they had to take all the inmates from that, and it's just a county jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had to take all the inmates from that jail and send them somewhere else, which has got to be a big undertaking.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's 2 wings, and this is part of the problem where they get a lot of fights. There is a Duke wing and a Carolina wing.
Oh, really?
They do not like each other. Yeah, they literally, they're gangs that are affiliated like that. So they have to separate them according to who you're for.
So it's blue, like Crip blue, and then light blue, like Crip light.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and the bandanas reflect it. So, you know,
Dang.
who knows? Maybe an NC State fan got in there, and then all hell broke loose. And, you know, you just never know about these things.
Yeah, you can't let an NC State fan in the mix.
No, they're wannabes. They're pretenders.
Wolfpack wannabes.
Just shank them. Oh, my gosh, I did not say that.
Wow.
I said shower them with love. No, shower, that's bad. Let's talk about, what was that other thing you were saying?
Drop the soap in the shower.
Dang. Man, I sure paint myself into a corner.
Yeah, that was just crazy that popped up on my radar this morning.
That happened in a long time. I hadn't heard of anything reported like that in a while, have you?
No, but that's movie type stuff. You know?
Yeah.
That's what you get out of a movie. There was one movie I was watching, and I only watched like a couple episodes because I get frustrated when it's not a documentary. It was supposedly based on a real story, but it's just, if I'm watching a movie and it starts to seem too unrealistic, I start to get turned off by it. And this one in particular was about a guy that allegedly murdered his child, but the child was, you know, he finds out that the child is still alive, but nobody believes him. And this is while he's in prison. And he's been in there 5 years on like a 9-year sentence. And the warden of the prison is apparently good friends with his dad, the inmate's dad. So they transferred him to that prison so the warden could kind of keep an eye on him. Well, so he and the warden are like good friends, but within the jail with the staff and the guards, apparently they have been paid by the individuals that kidnapped his kid and staged the murder scene to kill the dad while he's in custody. So he ends up, the warden helps him break out, and then they're both on the run from the place. It was weird, and it lost me.
It sounded okay up to that point, right
yeah,
there.
I quit watching it. Scott said, Andrew, what's that movie you and JB were talking about? But he sent that at 12:26. Was I talking? I wasn't talking about that movie that I was just talking about, was I? Was there another movie we were talking about?
Yeah, we were talking about Whiplash.
Well, there was Whiplash, but maybe he's talking about the one that I was just talking about, and I don't remember the name of it. I think it was on. Trish saw like a TikTok or something that suggested it. It's called like "I Will Find You," I think. It just came to me. I will find you. Movie, Netflix. Yeah, that's it. It's called "I Will Find You." It's kind of dumb, but it's on Netflix if you want to watch it. Knock yourself out. He says he likes to. Oh, he said it was Whiplash. It was Whiplash. That's a really good one. It's about a kid that's learning to play drums, and it's just it's a little bit of a roller coaster, you know. I don't know how to explain it, but
And believe it or not, everybody's like, "Oh, that's not believable. That's not believable." No, when I was in music and went to college for music for a while, the professors were, a lot of them were like that, absolute jackasses.
mm,
And the idea is to toughen you up because you may be the next, Miles Davis or whatever.
right. Yeah, Hippie says Saturday will be 50 years since I waited in line for hours to rub the crack in the Liberty Bell. He said touching the bell ended April 6, 2001, when some nut attacked it with a small sledgehammer, leaving some dents on the rim. You remember that? Remember that happening? Somebody attacking the Liberty Bell with a sledgehammer?
No, I don't. If you said 2001?
Yeah. April 6, 2001. God, it's so freaking hot in here, dude.
Yeah, it's warm in here.
Did you take the whole bag of pork rinds
No.
out of the break room?
No.
I think you did. They're not in there anymore.
Well, somebody must have got them.
Hold up the bag and let me see.
Bag?
Show the camera.
Okay.
No, not your backpack. It's to your right. Just show the camera. He took the whole bag and he's been eating them for an hour. So, no, show them to make sure nobody else at Cumulus could have any of those. Turn it around. Let's see how many you've eaten. No, turn the bag around.
Oh.
Turn the bag around. Won't show the front. Dang, bro, you've eaten 2/3 of the bag.
And I've ruined my shorts. Look.
What is that from?
That's from the dust.
The pork rind dust?
Yeah, pork rind dust.
Probably not the first time you've been covered in pork rind dust, is it?
No.
No. Whatever you're eating, you're going to be covered in it.
This is true. I'm just not the best at eating food neatly.
No, you're not. Hey, let's talk about politicians for a minute real quick.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about Canada, if you will. There is a transgender former prostitute running for mayor in Canada who uses a sock puppet during campaign speeches. And I'm not even making this up. A transgender biological male, former prostitute, is running for mayor of Hamilton, Ontario. And if that's not crazy enough, recent campaign footage shows him giving his speeches using a sock puppet with googly eyes. Scarlett Gillespie is his name, who previously went by the name Jelena Vermillion. Currently serves as the executive director of the Sex Workers Action Program. The acronym is SWAP. Hamilton and the Sex Workers Action Program, Hamilton, and has long advocated for sex workers' rights, housing issues, and trans-related causes. Gillespie received the YWCA Hamilton Women of Distinction Award in 2024 for his work. He announced his candidacy for mayor earlier this year and is registered for the municipal election scheduled for October 26th. Gillespie's campaign platform focuses on affordable housing, tenant protections, climate justice, greater transparency at City Hall, community-led safety initiatives, and strengthening the local arts sector, according to his website. The candidate has described himself as a community organizer and activist with lived experiences working directly with marginalized groups. In a video from a campaign event on Sunday, Gillespie is at a microphone with a sock puppet on one hand.
Oh, God.
Gillespie uses the puppet to help deliver portions of his speech, including a story about feeling disrespected. He was talking about how he was the victim of a hate crime and treated like a feral dog.
If the sock puppet fits, you know.
I mean, really, is there anything that screams liberal more than a transgender hooker with a sock puppet?
I think that pretty much encapsulates it all. You can usually find one of those three things in every liberal.
And it's not as if he's doing a sock puppet show. He's just kind of, it's almost like a coping mechanism where as he's giving his speech, the sock puppet is doing it as well.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, maybe it's his maybe his therapist told him to try that. If he's afraid to talk in front of people, if he's afraid to use his mouth for talking.
Yeah. He uses his mouth for a lot of things. You think he'd be
able to talk.
Yeah. You think he'd be able to just, kind of
articulate.
Articulate. Not articulate, articulate. Don't get that confused. But that's what you get, man. That's what you get with liberals. That's what you get with socialists. And that is that's the status quo these days. It's crazy because we have seen the rise of the DSAs, as they call them, the Democrat Socialist of America. We saw it in New York. I think there's one on the ballot. Is it today? Over in Colorado, you've got some socialist that's running for office in Colorado who, I don't remember her backstory. I was reading up on her last night, but I don't even remember what it said about her. But they're making headway. These socialists are actually getting elected in these blue cities, and it's very concerning. And I would think it would be concerning for Democrats that have been in the game for a long time. Democrats that have been in office for years on end, like Chuck Schumer, who instead of, and I brought this up yesterday, instead of just standing by and allowing these individuals to infiltrate their party, they would stand up and say, no, this is nonsense. You're not going to be able to get elected on a wide scale. Like, people are just not going to do it. But they're not. They're accepting it. They're allowing them to just walk all over them. And maybe they're just looking at New York and saying, look, it's possible, so maybe this is the way to go. But it's not going to work on a national level. And on top of that, you are recreating your party. Yes, these are local election that these socialists are getting elected to, but they are going to ultimately identify your party. And your party will be known as the party of the socialist. And then that's going to affect other candidates that may not be socialists. And so I would think they would fight back, but instead they're not. Case in point, Kristen Gillibrand, who is somebody who's very liberal, but a Democrat and, a hardcore, always voting with the left and the Chuck Schumers and everything else. Not somebody you would peg as being an individual that would allow outsiders to come in and ruin their party. But apparently, she is on board with this stuff.
Fidel Vargas, President CEO, HSF. What is your explanation for what happened in New York with the primaries, and especially those in New York City?
Mhm.
How are you taking that to heart as a senator from New York, as the head of the senatorial campaign, and as a member of the Democratic Party?
Yes. So New York had a very strong change election. There was a huge interest in new candidates, younger candidates in some instances, the next generation of candidates. And so there was several instances where incumbents lost to challengers because of that trend. And that trend is a very good trend for nationwide elections because it shows how deep the interest in change is and how fired up new voters are, younger voters are, different demographics of voters.
Yeah. So go ahead and hang your hat on that and let us know how that works out for you. And don't get me wrong, it's something to be worried about. You definitely want to be concerned, especially with a Democrat Party that likes to cheat in elections. You want to be worried about the possibility of socialists getting elected on a federal scale, which is, it's going to be happening. They're going to be creeping into the House of Representatives. They're going to be, winning elections here and there. But it won't be long before they try to put one up for, God forbid, president. The Democrat Party nominates a socialist president, and these people are radical. They're not even your Bernie Sanders socialists. They make Bernie Sanders look like a level-headed individual. These people are straight crazy. This is a new type of socialism. This is socialism on steroids. And it is a real threat to this country. A real threat. And in New York, Mamdami's been leading the way on this. The Mamdami endorsed candidates are the ones that are winning. And if that trend continues, it's going to be one or two things. I don't think there's going to be anything in the middle. There's going to be no middle ground. It's going to be Americans are going to outright reject it on a large scale, or Americans with the short memory that we have will elect a socialist. And as crazy as that sounds, it's definitely possible. 205-545-9950. Let's keep it rolling on the other side. Hang tight. Man, it's rough in here, Coles. And I know there's people out in the audience that are out there working in this heat. It ain't no joke, man. It says it's 94 outside, but it's got to be like 80 something in the studio. I had to go stick my head in the freezer during the break.
Did you really?
I did.
Actually, that's pretty smart.
I went in the break room and I was like, I'm just going to put my head in here for a minute. I don't know if it helped or not, but it's like I'd take my hat off and everything. Y'all know I ain't about taking my hat off. Not a fan of that. Not a fan. Not a fan. You want to get in? 205-545-9950. That's 545-9950. Let me tell you about Earnest Financial. RetireWithEarnest.com. RetireWithEarnest.com. 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-7233. This is about protecting your retirement, making sure that's all taken care of on the up and up. You need some financial advisement, if you will. That's what we'll call it. Financial advisement. When you've been working your whole life or you've come into, some money, through an inheritance or whatever it may be, you need financial advisement. You need a financial advisor, and you need somebody that's going to be able to put the money where it needs to be and put it where it's going to grow. One, to protect it, but two, to make sure it grows. And it also gives you the opportunity to distribute it in a way, and some of y'all know this, a lot of y'all know this, where you can basically have your money stay there, but you can just live off the interest. You can pull off the interest that you're making. So you still got that money, but you're kind of making money in the meantime. And for a lot of people, they can simply live off the interest and just get that money coming in every month and live a good life, live a good retirement. That's what this is about. David Earnest is a friend of mine. He's been in the game 45 plus years. He's been doing this, and he knows exactly how to work the markets, exactly where to put you, and to make sure that you are well taken care of. The website, retirewithernest.com. That's retirewithernest.com. Call him at 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-7233. Let them know Andrew Mclain sent you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I saw, and this goes back to the socialist and the ideas of socialism. One of the ideas of socialism is open borders, right? Just no borders whatsoever. This new socialism. Socialism is socialism. It's all bad. It leads to communism. We know all that. But there is this new, what you would call American socialism, that has crept into our politics, and it has many pitfalls, but one is the open borders. And we can see throughout Europe countless examples of what socialism will bring to this country. I was watching a video, and I'm not proud of the fact that I saw this, but it popped up. It was there. It was already burned in my brain. I couldn't do anything about it. A African migrant in Italy who was at a water park. Actually, this may have even been at a beach. I think it was at a beach. And he is standing there in front of men, women, and children that are there enjoying a family day at the beach, pulling his pud. Just pants at his knees with his wiener out and just going to town. Right there in front of everybody. Somebody that's not even supposed to be in their country is basically traumatizing the women and children that are out there to have a fun family day. And so after he does that, didn't seem like people acted quick enough, but at some point, the males that were there in his presence confronted him and said, "Hey, dude, we're not going to be putting up with that." And at that point, one of the males took a swing on this African migrant, and then an all-out brawl broke out. And it wasn't a brawl where it was both sides, getting good shots in. No, it was one-sided because it was one guy, one migrant, getting beat down by several Italian men in swimming trunks and flip-flops. I mean, they were picking up chairs and everything.
The Italians don't mess around. Now, the men may wear those tiny Speedos, but that's as far as it goes.
Oh, they beat the crap out of this guy. And that's the kind of stuff, again, when it comes to socialism, that's the kind of stuff you're going to deal with. And in Europe is a perfect example. You would be charged with a hate crime for attacking someone like this. If you went up and attacked this guy because he is exposing himself to children, he wouldn't be the one arrested. You'd be the one arrested because it was a hate crime. Example of the mindset of those people. There was one of the World Cup matches, and I think it might have been in Texas. What was it? Houston. They were having matches in Houston. I don't know. I'm just guessing at that. It was an English guy. I guess he was an England fan or whatever. Heard someone like one row up saying something that he deemed racist about the Haitian soccer team. And so he told the guy, he's like, "That's not appropriate. You shouldn't be doing that, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go tell security." Well, he goes to security and says, "Hey, there's a guy sitting in front of me." And he said, and I don't even know what the guy said, but he said something racist about the Haitian team. And the security is like, "Okay, what are you asking us to do?" They're like, "Well, you got to kick him out. He said something racist. That's hate speech." They're like, we don't kick people out for speech here." And so he got mad and he went back to his seat or whatever and continued to record his video as he talked about how ridiculous it was that the guy couldn't get kicked out for something he said. And I'm like, we're in America, buddy. We've got a little thing called freedom of speech. I know y'all don't have it over at your place, but here, yes, people say vile things. People say inappropriate things they shouldn't say, but they're allowed to say it. And a lot of us will defend their right to say it, even if we don't like it. We're not from this world where speech is policed by stadium security guards, and especially, well, security guards can do it technically, but we certainly are not going to let the government punish us for speech.